Hello, friends. Today we are going to read a little bonus wonder story. So it is Bunny Cakes, and it's a Max and Ruby book. Have you watched the Max and Ruby TV show? Yeah, so this is a book about those characters, Max and Ruby. So this story is written and illustrated by Rosemary Wells. So if she was the author and the illustrator, what did she do? Good, she wrote the words and drew the pictures for the story. All right, let's see what Max and Ruby are up to today. It was Grandma's birthday. Max made her an earthworm birthday cake. No, Max, said Max's sister, Ruby, we are going to make Grandma an angel surprise cake with raspberry fluff icing. That sounds delicious, doesn't it? Max wanted to help. Don't touch anything, Max, said Ruby. But it was too late. You can see in the picture. What happened? All the eggs fell and now they're cracked. Ruby sent Max to the store with a list that said eggs. What's the first sound you hear in eggs? Eggs. E, very good. And there's that word, eggs. Max wanted red hot marshmallow squirters for his earthworm cake. So he wrote red hot marshmallow squirters on the list. Do you see down there? Right underneath eggs, he tried to write red hot marshmallow squirters. The grocer could not read Max's writing. Eggs, said the grocer, and he gave Max eggs. Max brought the eggs home to Ruby. Don't bump the table, Max, said Ruby. But it was too late. What happened in the picture? Oh no, the milk fell off the table. Ruby sent Max back to the store with a list that said milk. What's the first sound you hear in milk? Milk. M, very good. And there's that word, milk. This time, Max wrote red hot marshmallow squirters in a different way. Max hoped and hoped for his squirters, but the grocer still couldn't read Max's writing. Milk, said the grocer, and he gave Max milk. Oh no. Do you think he'll ever get his red hot marshmallow squirters? We'll have to see. Max brought the milk home to Ruby. There's a yellow line on the floor, Max, said Ruby. You can't step over that line. See the line that she drew? But Max crossed the line anyway. Over went the flour. Ruby got out her pencil and wrote flour. What's the first sound you hear in flour? Flour. F, very good. All right, so there's the word flour, and you can see that in the picture the flour on the floor. This time, Max wrote red hot marshmallow squirters in the most beautiful writing he knew. Max could almost taste the marshmallow squirters. Flour, said the grocer, and he gave Max flour. Oh my goodness. He worked so hard with his writing. When Max got home, there was a sign on the kitchen door. That was the sign. Max, the kitchen is no place for you, said Ruby. Ruby finished up her cake. She baked it and cooked it and iced it with a raspberry fluff frosting. I need something else, Max, said Ruby. Birthday candles, silver stars, sugar hearts, buttercream roses, wrote Ruby. Meanwhile, Max had a brand new idea. It's a shame that Ruby isn't letting him in the kitchen, though. Is that very nice? You can see he's still outside the window. He's like looking from the window. That's a shame. Be nice if she would let him in and so he could help her, but let's see what happens. He drew a picture of red hot marshmallow squirters on Ruby's list and ran to the grocer. He could not wait. See how he drew it? So that's an idea so that the grocer won't have to read the words. He could just look at the picture and know what he wants. Let's see if this works. Birthday candles, silver stars, sugar hearts, buttercream roses, said the grocer. What's this? Why, it must be red hot marshmallow squirters. Yay! He's getting his red hot marshmallow squirters. Ruby's cake looked just beautiful. Max went out and put caterpillar icing on his earthworm cake. Grandma was so thrilled she didn't know which cake to eat first. Oh, Grandma must feel so special. All right, friends. So who were the characters in our story? Who did we see doing different things in our story? Those are the characters. We saw Max, right? And Ruby, and the grandmom showed up at the end. And then who was at the store every time Max would go to get things on Ruby's list? The grocer, right? Max and Ruby are the main characters, though. That's what's most of the things in the story were happening with Max and Ruby. Good job. And where did most of the story happen? Like, where were the characters for most of the story? That would be called the setting of the story. Where were Max and Ruby for most of the story? And if you can't remember, you can always look back. It's always so good to look back at the pictures in a story. If you ever want to remember something about a story, you can open up the book and go back in to see, to help you remember. A lot of the time they were in the kitchen, right? That's where a lot of the things were happening. That's where Ruby was baking her cake, and Max would come in and try to help, and and then he'd have to go to the store because he'd have to get some things. Very good. So the setting of our story is the kitchen, and the characters were Max and Ruby, and then also we saw the grocer and Grandma in the story. All right, really good. Following along with our story today, friends. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye.